Boar's Head is bringing a slice of Japan to the deli. Introducing Boar's Head Ichiban Teriyaki-style chicken. Tender, slow-roasted chicken breast, coated in our signature teriyaki glaze, where ginger, garlic, and a hint of brown sugar meet for a flavor that's both sweet and savory. New Boar's Head Ichiban Teriyaki-style chicken. The bold flavor of Japan. Now at the deli. Only from Boar's Head. Compromise elsewhere.
Blog Talk Radio.
Well, good evening, folks, and thank you for tuning in with me once again to another edition of True Conservative Radio. And of course, I am your host, the man they call Ghost. And once again, folks, I want to thank everybody for tuning in with me. I decided to go ahead and have a consecutive back-to-back days of the True Conservative Radio program because I felt that it was necessary to continue the conservative commentary that we were beginning in the last program and just continue it on into the next program, folks, because in my view, I think that every political commentary that's geared towards the conservative persuasion should be emphasized, spotlighted, glorified. I mean, it just needs to be emphasized in everyday political thought. Because as you can see, folks, for all it's worth in modern-day America, we are now embracing, and not only embracing, but we're bowing down to the leftist ideology, folks. And once again, folks, I decided to go ahead and run another consecutive program here because I'm, once again, rather tickled about all the garbage that's written about yours truly and all the YouTube videos that are posted about yours truly out here claiming that I'm some big bad wolf and I'm some big bad guy because I actually want to implement some sort of conservative principles out here in America today. I want to emphasize the Constitution. I mean, I want to continue the idea of the constitutional republic. I don't want to transition to what we have transitioned to and thus continuing to make the transition into, and it's some sort of quasi-communist socialist horse crap. And I don't want to have nothing to do with it. I don't know about you folks. I mean, it seems to me just by getting a good whiff of the American population. And let me tell you something. As soon as you step outside your door to get a good whiff of the American population, I mean, it smells like a dirty, smelly, disgusting carnival urinal. I mean, just the stench of the ignorance that's floating around the American population could literally want to make me hawk up the ham and cheese sandwich that I had before going on and conducting this program. And you see, folks, I know that there's a lot of people out here, once again, that are critical of me. They're getting all butthurt. They've got their garter belts and their panties up in a bunch because I'm being critical about the American people. But, folks, this is what's unfortunate about our society today. This is what's the unfortunate tragedy of our system. And the tragedy of our system is that we don't identify the internal contradictions that are obviously blatant. All we do is continue to pass the ball or continue to blame somebody else. And this is what makes me disgustingly ill about this society, folks. And that's why, you know, instead of me getting up on here and continuing the conservative commentary, I want to extend my hand to you, the listener. And I can see there's a lot of people in here listening live to the program. And if you happen to be listening to me in the archive, once again, folks, follow me on Twitter. Twitter.com/ghostpolitics. It's the best way, the quickest way to figure out when I'm going to have one of these sporadic broadcasts. But I want to extend the debating table to those out there listening in right now. I mean, what do you think about our current system? I mean, honestly, take your head out of the clogged up colon pipe you know, that you've just had it in for all these years and allowed all these power-hungry autocrats to basically sell out our country from under us. I want to hear your perspective. as a working man, as a working woman, if you happen to be one of these losers collecting entitlements, I want to hear your stupid, dumbfounded sentence fragment written perspective. I mean, give me a call right now, 646-652-4869. I mean, I want to hear from the American people that are out there who are listening in, who continuously bombard my email address with all kinds of profanity and vile words. I wonder if you kiss your mother with that mouth. Well, actually, you're not talking. You're flapping your fat fingers on the keyboard. But, you sit here and you continuously email me nothing but vulgarities, nothing but personal attacks, nothing but slanderous lies. And all I'm asking you to do, and if you happen to disagree with my political persuasion, I'm asking you to put some damn substance on the table. That's what I'm doing. I'm asking you to put some damn substance. So once again, folks, if you happen to be listening in to me, I extend the floor to you on this free format edition of the True Conservative Radio program. The number to call is 646-652-4869. I know there's a lot of text chat warriors out here that are in the chat room, once again, trying to use their sausages of fingers to flap on that, secreted keyboard due to the high amounts of pornography that these people are probably absorbing. I'd like for them to get up off their fat asses, get up off the keyboard, and give me a call right now. Once again, 646-652-4869. If you happen to be some liberal long hair, if you happen to be some, feminist bull dyke, all right? If you happen to be somebody out there who disagrees with my political persuasion, I want you to put some substance on the damn debating table. All right? Anyway, folks, this free format edition, the reason I'm, conducting this broadcast is, once again, I think that this type of conservative commentary needs to be conducted on a consistent basis. I know there's a lot of individuals that don't want to talk about the imperfections of our ridiculous American society at this point, but I feel that it needs to be said. As a matter of fact, as we go into the holiday season, as we go into Thanksgiving, as we go into the Christmas holidays, I strongly advise you to discuss these issues. Discuss these issues with your family. I mean, use the forum of the holiday table to initiate political discussion. And what I want you to observe right off the bat is if these idiots are popping off the head of talking points that were regurgitated off the boob tube, whether it be MSNBC, CNN, Fox, whatever supposed mainstream news organization that they obtain their information from, if they attempt to continue to regurgitate these talking points, you know right from the get-go that these individuals don't understand our political system. They're not properly informing themselves about the American political system, and henceforth it is this idea, it is this perception that America has towards our American system that puts us in the horrific, disgusting phase that we have seen America transition itself into. I think it's rather disgusting to me that no one in America seems to be giving two rats' asses about the fact that our country is not only getting dumber, not only is our country becoming retarded economically, not only have we become morally bankrupt, we've just become complacent. I mean, don't you morons understand? I hate to keep re-emphasizing this fact, but it seems to me that it's just gone off and went over the head of most of these simple folk out here, and I can't believe how many simple folk we've got out here in America. But it's gone completely over the head that this government was made by the people and for the people, and once you fat lordasses that are too busy sitting on the couch eating, whatever snack food, whatever piss and crap they call instant food or pocket food or whatever the crap you call it nowadays, you're flipping on the channel to see the latest San Francisco fruity ass dancing around on a stage like he's got a damn gerbil up his shit funnel on American Idol. You should have been out there participating in this government. You should have been out there actually informing yourself. I mean, this is what makes me disgustingly ill. All the answers, all right? All the damn answers out here to all of our questions are at our fingertips. We are the most luckiest generations of history. I mean, knowledge is no longer exclusive to any class of people. I mean, the idea of being an educated and well-knowledged, well-rounded individual is no longer exclusive based upon one's nobility. We don't live in that time zone anymore. And where are all the answers, folks? Where are all the information? It's right there at your fingertips, and it's this great innovation, the most freest innovation, and I call it the Internet. You and I call it the Internet. But instead, what are people using the Internet for, folks? They're waxing their carrot to massive amounts of sick, demented, twisted pornography. They are utilizing the methods of instant communication and chat room communication to lure pre-teenagers for sexual liaisons. This is what Americans are doing with their spare time instead of informing themselves to continue to enlighten themselves about political perspectives, social perspectives, ideas that we need to absorb and we need to interpret and we need to think critically about so that we can properly dispense our power. And when I say our power, I'm talking about the people's power. I'm talking about the working man's power. I'm talking about those who pay their taxes. I'm talking about those who are not collecting an entitlement. That's who I'm talking about, folks. I'm talking about those folks that have been left out in the cold out here. And folks, it is not too late. It is not too damn late. Don't just sit back on your lazy boy chair and keep flipping on the boob tube to entertain you until you finally off yourself or this great nature of ours takes you away. Go off of the sidelines and get onto the front lines and help not only yourself and your family, help future generations that have been sold into bondage thanks to this baby boomer generation. Thanks to this, oh yeah, man, I was in Woodstock, peace, love, and 3 days of music, yeah. All that stupid generation. Those people sold their children out. They sold their great-great-grandchildren out. I mean, they sold so many generations out, I couldn't even explain to tell you how many lines down the road that these damn baby boomers sold out for their own indulgence, for their own gluttony. And what was the political ideology that fueled the fervor of these stupid, ungrateful, disgusting, spoiled brats called the baby boomers? What was the ideology? It was leftism. It was communism. It was Marxism. It was feminism. And folks, we are living that today. We are the consequence. The present-day America is the consequence of all the leftism that happened in Woodstock, of all the leftism that happened in the early 70s, of all the malarkey that was spread around like wildfire through these baby boomers' self-absorbed heads out here. And now we are wondering why we are in the precarious situation we're in. I mean, that's what really disgusts me. It should disgust you if you are a rational human being. If you're someone that can look and observe and see that what's going on here in America is not right. And it's not right based on rational perception, not ridiculous self-indulgence and gluttony and materialism. What's going on here in America is not right. What's going on with the working man and the working woman? Being taxed to death. Being working slaves to the ridiculous underclasses that show no appreciation to anyone who's helping them. I'm talking about the poor in America. I'm talking about the single octo-mom dish rag whore mothers that are out here shitting out kids because it makes them money with the entitlement systems. I mean, let me tell you, and I speak for all the working men and all the working women in America, and I am speaking to all you scumbags, you life losers, You wastes of human flesh that are out here collecting all these entitlements. We are not your slaves. The working man and the working woman are not your slaves. I'm sick and tired of seeing actual hard-working people being deducted these ridiculous, disgusting, unconstitutional taxes out of their paychecks to pay for these losers that are out here with their hands out, that are out here with no type of ambition. They're out here making no kind of contribution to make this system, to make this society a better place. They're making no contribution, damn it! I speak for the working man. I speak for the working woman. And all you feminists that are in this chat room, and all you feminists out here that are critical of me, that are claiming that I'm some sort of a misogynist, that are claiming that I'm some sort of a sexist. How can you say that when I'm speaking for the independent working woman also? Yeah, that's right. I'm talking about the working woman that didn't go out there and shit out about 12 kids, all right? I'm talking about the working woman that's independent, that used her own academic prowess, her own knowledge base, her own skill base to obtain the positions of power that she acquires today or that she possesses today. And I think it's disgusting that we have hardworking women that are out here making large sums of money and they have no children. They have no children because they don't want to sit here and be burdened because they can't afford the children that they had. You see, that's a big thing that people seem to be missing out here in America. People keep shitting out children. They keep churning them out. They keep shitting them out of their damn uterus pipe. And yet they don't know how they're going to take care of them. They don't know how they're going to maintain sustenance for them. They don't know how they're going to maintain an income so they can feed these damn children. And the independent woman, I'm talking about the true independent woman, who's out there working her tail off, who's out there busting her ass 10, 12 hours a day, who's out there paying these damn taxes that she should not be paying, that the working man should not be paying, and that I shouldn't be paying. I don't give a crap what happens to these losers in America. For all I care, if they're going to sit there with their damn hands out, put them on their damn island somewhere and throw them, every other day or something, cargo ship the crap like ham and cheese sandwiches and just start dumping them off on this island, for Christ's sake. I mean, do you understand that what made this country so great is that everyone, and I do mean everyone in this society, contributed something to it to make it successful? Don't you understand that you have to make a contribution to this society for it to be successful, for it to have opportunity, for it to have the greatest freedoms that we have taken for granted? I mean, doesn't anybody understand this crap? I mean, this is the kind of commentary that needs to be taking place on a consistent basis out here. Because I look on the damn boob tube, I look on the damn internet, I listen to the damn radio, and I don't hear any of this kind of commentary. I don't hear any of these type of points that are not being brought up in the supposed mainstream American media. I mean, it's horrible. And I know that people are critical of me, calling me the big bad wolf, because I tell it how it is. I don't sugarcoat crap. I'm not one of these politically correct ass clowns. And the reason I'm not politically correct, folks, is because political correctness is a tool utilized by the liberals and the bull-dyke feminists to subjugate the people so that they can want more government, so they can ask for more government, so they can beg for more government. So I'm not going to sit here and be politically correct. Whatever happened to freedom, damn it? Whatever happened to that? Whatever happened to freedom? Freedom of speech, freedom of thought. I'm just asking, folks. I'm just asking. You see, I'm the bad guy because I'm posing these questions without anyone answering these questions. And I'm the bad guy. Now, folks, I'm just going off on rants here. I want to actually hear from you, the listener. if you have anything to add, please give me a call. 646-652-4869 is the number to call here. This is a free format edition of the True Conservative radio program, and we're just talking about random issues. And I think that the reason I came up here and conducted another broadcast is, once again, folks, these issues need to be put forth. Now, I know that there's a lot of avid listeners that are probably going to be rolling their eyes to the back of their head, but I want to delve into a little bit of health care. Because, folks, that seems to be the big issue out here, you know. All these damn ass clowns, these power-hungry autocrats in the Senate and the Congress, they're all having a group circle jerk over the idea of health care, or the proposition of government-funded health care, or public option health care, whatever you want to call this crap. All right? And then you've got the tea-baggers, the people that are supposed to be the opposition for this supposed impending government-ran health care. You know, the teabaggers are actually just raiding town hall meetings where all these dumbass politicians are, gathering around and answering questions about this whole health care reform. They're raiding these damn places and, standing up and getting bullhorns and holding up signs saying, "I like my health insurance. I want to keep my health insurance." I mean, this is the actual opposition. I mean, can somebody think critically with me here? I know there's a lot of people that are really touchy about this issue. For whatever reason, they're not really thinking rationally. I'm actually trying to talk to the rational individuals in this country, in this chat room, on this broadcast. How in the blue hell can you be a true opposition? You can be a true opposition, and you can actually be for the current healthcare system that we have today. And what I mean by that is all these teabaggers are out here disrupting these politicians' town hall meetings with the substance that they love. They love their health insurance plan, that they don't want to, change their health insurance plan. I mean, don't you understand that the insurance companies are the problem? I mean, the insurance companies are the problem in this whole health care reform factor. And yet they are dominating the realm of debate in this supposed two-sided talking point. Both sides are embracing an idea of complete health insurance domination of the healthcare industry. And this is why I get disgusted whenever I see these damn teabaggers and these leftists and all these people holding up signs saying, "Oh, I'm for the public option over here. Oh, yes, I'm for the public option. I love it." And then you got these teabaggers saying, "I hate the public option. I want to keep my health insurance. I love paying high premiums. I love paying $27,000 for a damn broken leg. I liked it. I want to keep it." I mean, this is supposed American healthcare reform debate in America today. I mean, none of the bills proposed that have been in the Senate or the House have been anywhere near universal health care. It hasn't been anywhere near the idea of, supposedly offer, schmucks can just go right off the street, go into the hospital and get, free medical care if they happen to have the clap or, they got an infection of the crotch or whatever. That's not what's happening here. And you see, the people in this debate, the people that are so passionate about it, the ones that are protesting and putting the picket signs up, they have no idea what they're protesting against or what they're protesting for. I mean, I just think it's disgusting that this two-sided debate in this supposed healthcare reform situation that's happening within our government, I think it's absolutely disgusting that the health insurance industry is just it just seems to be an invisible factor in this debate. People seem, people seem to love the health insurance industry. I mean, look, folks, and I hate to, keep beating a dead horse here, but if you want true health care reform, If you want health care reform that's actually going to help the people, that's actually not going to put people in debt, that's actually going to help facilitate a technological and innovative growth in the healthcare industry that is going to surpass the proportions of anyone's perception, why don't we take the health insurance, the whole industry, take it the hell out. Just get it out. I mean, why are these imbeciles even in existence? I mean, why doesn't anybody ask these questions nor answer them? For all you folks out there that are listening in that are saying, well, if we take away the health insurance, the health costs are going to go through the roof. You see, you asshole, you don't know your ass from your elbow, and this is why America is in the situation it's in. Do you understand that we have a proven model that works? A proven model that the health insurance industry has nothing to do with, nor does any insurance company. I think that the insurance company is just barely starting to delve its nose in this industry's business, and I'm talking about the cosmetic surgery industry, folks. The cosmetic surgery industry has been completely privatized. Anyone that has to get any kind of cosmetic procedure done has to come out the pocket, They actually have to come out the pocket. They actually have to pay for these procedures out of their own money. All right? Now, what happened? Well, when the first boob job came about, when all these bimbos decided, oh, I want to increase my tit size from a size A to a size F. Back in the 80s, when this was really taken off and was really popular, a boob job cost about $20,000, okay? But because so many bimbos were out there convincing old, wrinkled, bald sack, single idiots into paying for boob jobs, or they were actually working as a waitress somewhere, or working a pole or something, they actually accumulated enough money to pay for this breast augmentation themselves. And there was such a demand for breast augmentation, folks, that guess how much a breast augmentation costs today? You can get a breast augmentation from, a small plastic surgeon in, one of the regions that don't have, as much competition. Of course, when you have competition and you have a lot of people willing to pay for the best procedures, that affects the whole market. But I have actually talked to these bimbos that have, and they come into my place of business, and they've actually just been upfront about it. They say, I got my boob job for $3,000, $2,500 plus tax. And I find it absolutely disgusting that, we had a woman come into the chat room some months back saying that she had a biopsy on one breast. It cost her, $19,000, $17,000, or something of that nature. Now, can somebody tell me what's wrong with this picture? That some stupid, disgusting, philanderous bimbo can go out and get a breast augmentation for $3,000, and yet somebody who has a tumor has to, come out the pocket and indebt themselves an entire generation, if not 2 generations, just to take the tumor out of themselves. It's just disgusting. But my point is, folks, is that the cosmetic surgery industry shows that if you didn't have the health insurance industry meddling around in the healthcare industry, we wouldn't have these types of healthcare reform debates. The market would take care of itself. I mean, we have machines, and I hate to keep, beating a dead horse with this, but we actually have machines that can go in and do open heart surgery without breaking open the chest cavity. We've got machines that can scan your whole body and, be able to predict any potential ailments that you're going to have within your lifetime, be able to look in 4-dimensional graphic and look inside your arteries. I mean, it's just unbelievable the amount of tools that are being left in manufacturers' closets because there's no market to sell these exclusive medical products to. And then, of course, the people that are ignorant to this whole debate, they're asking, well, how is that possible? The doctors are making so much money. How come they can't afford that? Don't you understand that every medical procedure has already got a pre-written price for it, whether it's by the insurance companies or whether it's by Medicaid or Medicare. There's a pre-written price for all of it. I mean, so a doctor or a hospital has to base their whole business model on these pre-set prices based on all kinds of or every medical procedure known to man. I mean, it's utterly disgusting, all right? I mean, it's really utterly disgusting. And then we have to, the doctor or the hospital has to pay for liability insurance. And because we have these scumbag lawyers out here, these disgusting, despicable, soulless cash whores, because, I read, the other day that some dumb bimbo went into the dentist or something, and instead of having 4 teeth pulled out, she had 7 teeth. And, some stupid jury actually awarded this bimbo, was it $500,000, because she had 6 teeth pulled out of her damn head, yeah. This is what I'm talking about. You see, the doctors and the hospitals have to pay liability insurance for this nonsense. And because all these blood-sucking lawyers are out here mooching the system and are mooching the liability insurance system on the doctor's end, it raises the premiums for the doctors through the roof, that sometimes over 50% of their profits go to pay him the liability insurance. Anyway, 646-652-4869. We got a caller here from the 740 area code. You're on the air.
Hey, how you doing, Ghost?
How's it going, man?
I'm all right. Hey, this is Tony in Ohio. Sometimes we disagree, man, but I'm agreeing with you right now. You were talking about health care and getting rid of insurance companies. I've been preaching that for a while, and I'm not from the left-hand side either. I believe in a direct-payer health care system instead of this single-payer idea on the left or what they've given us now, which, like you said, it's going to consume more percentage of GDP. It's going to cost us all more in premiums, and it's not going to give any universal care to anybody. So it's just a bad system of bills that they're coming up with. They're not coming up with anything that's going to benefit us, the people. I agree with you. We should get rid of insurance companies. If we let hospitals self-insure, I'm from Cleveland. There's a place called Cleveland Clinic where I live. It's a hospital. It's real famous, world famous. And they self-insure to a large degree, and they have no problem with it. What they do is if poor people come in, they give them the same application you would if you were filling out insurance if you could pay. And then they adjust the premiums for those who can pay. For the poor on the bottom, you get universal care, and on top of it, they can tell the people, look, you got the sniffles. You need to make an appointment. You ain't coming in this emergency room and costing us a fortune just because you feel like it. And then on the flip side, there's no insurance company telling you have to get tests that you don't need or that you can't get something that you do need that the doctor says that you could get. So it just makes sense to get rid of this whole middleman in the in-between that's costing us a fortune, just taking money out, putting it in their pocket, and it don't go toward health care. A lot of people don't think about it. You pay your doctor through your insurance company, right? Well, obviously, the insurance company ain't doing it for free, so they're keeping something, and that means whatever that something they're keeping is the extra money on your premium you're paying that don't go toward your health care, and it just don't make no sense.
It doesn't make any sense, and yet you've got both sides of the political debate in this, ridiculous spectacle, both arguing, the insurance side. They're basically both allowing the insurance companies to have full reign of the healthcare industry, and I think as far as patient health insurance is concerned, I don't think patients should pay any health insurance, and I think there needs to be tort reform to make sure that these, people like this maniac who, got 6 or 7 teeth pulled out instead of 4 teeth, getting awarded $500,000 by some idiot jury because, I don't know, they felt compassion for her, or, the lawyer had a nice coat or he had a good rap. I just think it's disgusting. I think that we need tort reform. Obviously, liability insurance still needs to be paid in the doctors and hospitals' end, but it doesn't need to take over 50% of the profits of those hospitals. because if you free up those profits in a privatized system, they would have the extended resources to buy better equipment. And I keep telling people that if you go and attempt to be diagnosed with any kind of cancers or any kind of heart ailments, you still have to drink the chalky crap to get a CAT scan. You know what I'm saying? Right. You know, that is 70s or 60s technology. I mean, my grandmother was drinking that chalky crap, and getting a CAT scan. It's ridiculous. But why is this still prevalent? Well, because they're not going to upgrade the CAT scan into the whole GE body scan technology where they can see the inside of your organs and your veins and, anything possible in four-dimensional technology, because they are basing every single medical procedure on the preset prices set forth by the insurance companies and Medicaid and Medicare. And in my personal opinion, I think that if we privatized the health insurance industry and somebody did have a serious disease like cancer or, some other ailment that requires a heavy load of personal resources, I think that the price itself would go down not to $70,000, $80,000, $100,000. It would go down to no more than $10,000 or $15,000, maybe $20,000. And people, put more than that on their car, so they can be able to pay this medical debt within their lifetime and be able to live a sufficient life because they can pay for it based on their own resources. I don't understand why we're not talking about this, man.
It makes a lot of sense, dude, and I'm totally with you on everything you're saying. And like the only thing I can really add to it is like I watch quite a few interviews because I'm from Cleveland originally, and I've watched the president of the Cleveland Clinic give a lot of interviews concerning the system they have, because it's like really boggles a lot of people's minds. They've been on Fox News as of recent, and I really don't.
Oh, really?
That. Yeah, they were on there a few times, and he was on there talking with you can Google the video for him and the interview he did with Greta Van Susteren, and you can check out some of the way that it works there. But I mean, like the best thing he said that I thought was genius really was he said, look, is it easier to teach an insurance agent to know what it is to be a doctor and to have that relationship with a patient, or is it easier to teach a doctor who's went to school for 10, 12 years how to be an insurance agent? It's just easier to teach the doctors how to handle the insurance end of it along with the rest of the paperwork they do already. It's not that much more, and they do it there, and they get by just fine. You know what I mean? Absolutely right.
And not only that, 70%, or from what I've read, I hear that somewhere between 60 to 70% of healthcare costs is bundled up in the bureaucratic paperwork that it takes from getting to the actual healthcare provider to the health insurance company. You eliminate the health insurance company, you free up that 70% of supposed drained resources needed for those bureaucratic positions. Henceforth, you allow, like you were just suggesting, the healthcare provider to produce its own financing, to produce its own brand of healthcare. I mean, I still think that we're going to have nonprofit organization-based hospitals, and I think that opens up a whole new avenue, to universal health care. I mean, if there's enough people out there willing to show compassion, supposedly, to their fellow man, then they want this idea of universal health care, we can have these hospitals like the Shriners is one nonprofit organization. Another, I believe, is it's St. Jude. I'm not too sure. Don't quote me on it. But I think that if we allowed these types of nonprofit organizations to open up these privatized hospitals and privatized our general physician practitioners, I think that we would be able to ration out healthcare universally within that frame or within that context. But once again, I mean, we can only speculate because both sides of the persuasion want the health insurance industry running their health care.
Right, and I agree with you again, and on top of that statistic that you quoted with the 60 or 70%, that's correct. I'm not sure which it is, though. I haven't seen that particular statistic, but I do know that 25% of our premiums right now are the insurance company. It's the 2 or 3% profit. They only make 2 or 3 cents profit per dollar, although it ends up being like $200 billion a year. But the whole thing is that it's that 2-3% profit, and then it's the big, huge chunk that goes to administrative costs, which is what you're talking about, and then on top of that, advertising. Like, if you have a self-insured hospital system, you don't need a lot of advertising. People realize that you get health care at hospitals. You know what I mean?
Of course. And, they're not going to be, especially if we have a system that allows, this type of financing for medical procedures, similar to what they do for student loans. They allow pretty much anybody to obtain a student loan. The unfortunate part about that is they have to pay for it for the rest of their life. And if they don't pay for it, believe it or not, they could end up in jail for that. I'm not too sure if you're aware of that. But I don't see why we can't implement a system similar to that for medical procedures. And if we were to allow the system to take its course, we were allow the market to take its course, I believe that medical procedures that would cost today $80,000, $100,000, I guarantee you would be down no more to $15,000, $20,000.
I think that's a great suggestion, especially for the people that they talk about, those young people that don't want to get insurance, but they're talking about mandating. Instead of mandating, that's a great idea. Just make it a debt that you can't bankrupt on. You can't default on.
Exactly. You cannot default on. Exactly. And, of course, after one's medical procedure, they're probably not going to be employed. That's the unfortunate part about it, but that's the realism that we live in. But if we allow those to continue to get, the health care, and allow individuals to, of course you have to base this upon income and that sort of thing. If they have a procedure that could be deemed cosmetic or, that's where the whole death care comes into play, unfortunately. I mean, that's where individuals have to make the decision on whether or not, they're going to be hooked up to machines for about 20 years, and who's going to pay for that. And if they're going to pay for that, they should have allocated, some odd dollars, within their own personal assets to achieve that, in my view. I don't think that's death care. I just think that's life. I mean, back in the old days, in the 1800s, you were lucky to live to 45.
I think having the government do it, Ghost, you're going to have, they talk about rationing. You would have that. I think we have that now with insurance companies. I think they. Oh,
we have it, exactly. You're absolutely right. We have it.
So, what you're saying is a perfect solution to that, man, because then you don't get rationing by the insurance companies, you don't get rationing by, you have the doctors making those kind of decisions as to what's cosmetic and what's not cosmetic, and they're going to make that decision based on that oath they take, not some stupid bottom line or, you know what I mean?
And not only that, it would serve and behoove the doctor to actually save a patient. Unlike the current system, we have a system that it behooves the doctor to keep the patient sick, so that they can continue to bill the insurance company to obtain profits. And no one seems to talk about that. Nobody seems to understand that. And both sides of the persuasion, the leftist nut jobs who want this ridiculous public option, and the right-wing teabaggers who are insistent upon keeping their insurance plan, both of them are embracing the health insurance industry with open arms. And I don't understand why none of the talking heads on the television set are highlighting this contradiction.
Well, man, I thank you for taking my call. Sometimes you yell at me when I'm in the chat room, but I'll tell you what, I agree with you today.
Well, you know what, I appreciate it. That's the beautiful part about America. We don't have to agree on everything. We don't even have to like each other, but it's this type of discourse that opens up the synapses to other ideas, to new perspectives, and that's what makes this country so great. And we've got the leftists today that are trying to limit that. They're trying to limit free speech. They're trying to subjugate people with political correctness. And as a result, they're going to retard the whole concept of open debate, open discussions, and being able to contradict one another. Once we stop being able to contradict one another, we become a stagnant, ridiculous, old I wouldn't even call it monarchy, but a modern-day patriarchal type system.
Yeah, an oligarchy basically is what you.
Yeah, there you go. That's a great word to describe it.
Well, I'm gonna listen in from the chat room, man. I'm enjoying the show, so thanks for taking my call and keep it up.
Thanks a lot, Tony. We appreciate you calling in, man.
All right, bye.
And that was a pretty good debate, folks. We were, once again, laying it down how it is when it comes to this health care debate. And I hope that those that are listening in, whether live or in the archive, take a lot from these particular discussions. You don't hear these types of debate. You don't hear these types of questions on the boob tube. And this is why, folks, you as the American people have an obligation to well inform yourself about these particular issues. Because if you don't, these power-hungry autocrats that are in Washington today are going to do nothing more than sell you out right from underneath your noses. I mean, and that's what they're going to do. They're just going to sell you out, just like they've sold us out thus far. And, folks, it is time for us. And when I mean us, I'm talking about the working man and the working woman. I'm talking about the individual who doesn't collect entitlements, all right? And if you happen to be a veteran, I'm not you see, I have a lot of veterans calling up saying, well, you know, I collect disability, I collect this. Sir, ma'am, you're a veteran, all right? That's not an entitlement, all right? I mean, that's an obligation. I mean, you serve and protect this country. You know, that isn't an entitlement. That's an obligation. And I have no qualms with giving anybody who serves this great nation any kind of obligational revenue to compensate for their service. But I'm talking about anybody else. I'm talking about any other you ass clowns that are out there, you know, taking advantage of the housing voucher program and, you know, the ridiculous free lunches and free breakfast programs at the schools and taking advantage of the new home electricity saving I mean, I went through the whole gambit of all the federal programs one can mooch off of. I'm talking about the people that aren't doing that. I'm talking about the individuals that are working hard. I don't care what you're doing, folks. I mean, you have to understand, we're living in a new day and age of America where we can't frown upon anybody. And I'm talking about the individual who is managing a big conglomerate company to the one who's giving you your damn burger at a burger joint. I don't care if you're a janitor, if you clean enema bags for a living. I don't care, and no one should care. We need to identify the realism of our system. And what makes our system so great is if we, as the American people, contribute. I mean, if we contribute in some sort of fashion, whether it be economically, whether it be educationally, whether it be just going out and paying your taxes, and being very aware of where those taxes are going. And let me tell you something, our taxes are going to the wrong people. Right now they're going to all these Wall Street bankers. I mean, did you hear about Lehman Brothers and the $3 billion that they've accumulated this quarter and, you know, or this year, I should say, because we're in the last quarter, you know, all the big money that these damn insurance and bankers and all the idiots that got the bailouts, and this is your tax-paying dollar, all right? This is your money that's docked out of your check without your consent. It's just taken away. That's what I've always wondered about our society when I was growing up working. You know, they would take the crap out of my check without my consent. I mean, what if I didn't want to pay for these losers, you know? I mean, this is unconstitutional. And let me tell you something, I'm a true conservative. I'm a true conservative. I believe in freedom and liberty, unlike these damn leftists out here who want to control everything around us. But, you know, going back to the Wall Street bonuses and the big bankers, why did they get all these big bonuses even though they had this leftist, supposed men and women of the people regime in power? I mean, you would think, given the fact that all these people that are in power in the liberal regime today basically got there by pussy pampering the constituency for which vote for them. They pussy pampered them with a bunch of lip service, and they got them there. And I thought the liberals were men and women for the people. I mean, how come they're not getting things done? How could they allow such a horrible raid of the American tax-paying system? All right? I'll tell you why. Because the bankers and the Wall Street people, even though, you know, they donate money to the Republicans' campaign, and it's notorious that the Republicans are a bunch of greedy bastards who are basically bought and paid for by these corporate conglomerates. But it's no different on the flip side, folks. All right? It's no coincidence on the flip side that we have supposed liberal and feminist men and women of the people doing the same damn thing, but if not worse. I mean, do you understand that all the debt that we've incurred, okay? And let me tell you, this is why I'm surprised anyone is still on the side of this liberal regime. I'm really surprised that anyone could still provide any sort of substance for this liberal regime. But ever since Barack Hussein Obama took office and the liberal regime had complete control of this American government, we have accumulated more debts than every president combined before this president. Let me rephrase that again, okay? Every president from Washington, George Washington, the first president of the United States, up until George W. Bush, the last president of the United States, okay? All that debt accumulated, this president, within the first 200 days, and this regime have spent more money than all those presidents combined. And we're supposed to sit here and gawk at the fact that this individual is getting Nobel Peace Prizes. We got to sit here and, palate the fact that, none of the garbage that's going on that's contributing to the downfall of our country, nothing is happening from the left. And all these idiots, you remember the campaign, folks. You remember the presidential campaign. These ass clowns, oh my God, I mean, they sold their soul to this Obama garbage. I mean, they sold their soul. I mean, they were out here with the stupid campaign signs. I mean, they were out here, mouthing off about, oh, yes, he's going to deliver change, and, oh, it's going to be so beautiful. It's going to be a communist utopia. I mean, we all heard, if you haven't heard, that one black female who was interviewed by one of these news outlets, and she was asked before Barack Obama was elected, what is it that drives you to come out here and support Barack Obama? And she just blatantly said, oh, I know that when Barack Obama's elected, I don't have to worry about paying my mortgage. I don't have to worry about putting gas in my car. I don't got to worry about nothing. Hooty-hoo! I mean, I kid you not, folks. And those folks right now, they got thrown a bone, all right? I mean, the stimulus package, don't get me wrong. These idiots that think that they're getting such a big check in the mail, these losers that think that they're having a great deal because, they're some idiot maniac who shitted out 8 kids and they're able to get $8,500 a month on government subsidies, these people are just being thrown a bone, all right? I mean, it seems like a lot. Don't get me wrong. A lot of people are collecting these entitlements. A lot of people are collecting, and they're making, moderate incomes, if not middle-class incomes, on an accumulation of all these federal and state and citywide programs. But, folks, the bankers, I mean, I would like for you to take a Google search on Wall Street and bankers, CEOs, CFOs, vice president, bonuses, and pay, and take a look at how much money. I mean, it's a complete and total pig out that's happening in Wall Street today. I mean, these idiots are going to have a great Christmas. I mean, I saw the Today Show a couple of days back, and, this ridiculous Matt Lauer and Meredith Vieira. They were interviewing, the vice president of, say, or Buying, or whatever the dumb bimbo's title was. She was out here showing the luxury items for the elitist buyer out here, and they actually pulled out a car plane. They actually pulled out a car airplane, and they've actually, this is what makes me sick to my stomach. I mean, in this economy, in this recession, who would be able to buy a $500,000 car plane? Well, I tell you what, I bet you that it's going to make a considerable amount of sales in this next Christmas because all the bonuses, all right? All the bonuses the multi-million-dollar bonuses that these people on Wall Street are getting. The CEOs, the CFOs, the idiots that were involved in burying the dead bodies and all this crap, all right? These individuals are going to be the ones going to Neiman Marcus luxury catalog and ordering a car plane. Yeah, they're going to order a $500,000 car plane and say, oh, yes, look at my new toy, thanks to the American taxpayer. And while the middle class and the upper middle class are slaving themselves, and let me reemphasize that again, they are slaving themselves, paying taxes, so not only that these losers and these single dish rag whore mothers and the poor in America are benefiting off of the sweat, blood, and tears of the middle class and the upper middle class, but the elites, these idiots on Wall Street, the bankers, these guys are they're puffing great big Cuban cigars because the embargo's been lifted on Cuba, and they're like, oh, yes, look at me, I'm drinking a Louis XIV cognac, and oh, look at me, I'm so great, I'm a Lehman Brothers CEO, CFO, yeah, thanks a lot, American taxpayer. I mean, and no one seems to care. I mean, this is what makes me upset. This is why I scream every time I get on here. I mean, this is why I come up on here every single day that I conduct these broadcasts with piss and fury in my veins. Because I can't believe that we're not discussing these issues on a mass scale. Instead, you have the majority of those that are participating in the political system. And if you look on the television set, if you go to your nearest video portal site, if you do a Google search, and you read and listen and watch all the idiots that are supposedly politically active in this country, they are completely been dumbfounded by idiots with special interest and, just other motives. I mean, they're completely dumbfounded by these types of questions, and they have no answers for them, folks. This is why I'm saying, if you listen to this program, aside from all the anger and the frustration and, a lot of the venting I do on this program, I am definitely hoping that it sparks a synapse in a lot of your brains out here. Because what I'm hoping to accomplish is motivating those of you that are workers, all right, that are working American people, that still believe in the individual and not embracing the collective. I'm hoping that you go out there and spark some rational debate between all these imbeciles that are claiming to be for the people or that are claiming to be for America. I mean, we need some rational debate out here. I mean, it's really sad. I mean, we've gone a long way down, but it's no surprise, folks. And, once again, I hate to say that the baby boomers are the ones to blame for this, but they're the ones that took advantage of the great free enterprise system, all right? I mean, do you have to understand why I hate the baby boomers so much? And I hate to say the word hate because I don't usually say that about a group of people, but, these baby boomers, all right? These individuals, not only did they have the luxury of growing up with two parents, yeah, that's right, they grew up in the 50s during the innocent time, when, Elvis was shaking his hips, and, oh, no, he's shaking his hips, and, back when Tutti Frutti, when you had a stupid, dumbass fruit bowl song like Tutti Frutti was actually hitting the charts, and Chuck Berry was playing Johnny B. Good and all this crap. These baby boomers had a two-parent family system, so they had the luxury of growing up with mommy and daddy. But instead of appreciating that family life, instead of appreciating all the material goods that they obtained post-World War II, I remember the parents of the baby boomers were one of the greatest generations of this country's existence. They fought in World War II so that we can have these freedoms. So what did the baby boomers do? Instead, they decided, I deserve more than this. I want more. I want to expand my mind. I want to be free. I want to be liberated. So they got lured by leftist ideology. You had idiots like that pervert Hugh Hefner and all these individuals that were responsible for the sexual revolution. And once the sexual revolution took its course, that's when you had all these different factions vying for liberation. That's when you had the bull dyke feminists come out of the woodwork saying, I want control of my body. You know, and then, you know, they start burning their bras, and then what happened? Oh, the Woodstock era. Oh, yeah, and Timothy Leary and the psychedelics. Remember that? That's when these baby boomers decided, oh, you know what? I mean, I'm just having it too good. I've got a two-parent family system. I grew up in the 50s. You know, I need more. I want to be more risque. I want to be more taboo. And then they went and they dropped acid and they smoked pot and they listened to the damn Grateful Dead and Purple Haze and all this other nonsense. They decided to go out there and live on these stupid communes, have free love, you know, have sexual orgies in mud pits like Woodstock. You know, they were just completely despicable and, you know, barbaric and animalistic. It was disgusting. And these morons actually thought that they were, oh, I was liberating myself. I was expressing myself. And then the 70s came along, oh, and these baby boomers, like they didn't have enough in the old, oh, yeah, I'm going to go out and drop acid and expand my mind and peace and love and orgies and all this crap. The 70s came along, and oh, man, these baby boomers threw on their damn bell-bottoms and their damn afros on their head. Oh, they started sniffing cocaine off of, you know, promiscuous slutbags' asses. Oh, they were doing a little dance. They were making a little love. They were getting down tonight and all this other nonsense. And then in the 80s, what happened? Oh, they tried to become corporate moguls, which they did, unfortunately, but they became corporate moguls. They integrated with the system. Even though they were all leftist, even though all these people praised idiots like Abby Hoffman and the Chicago 7 and the Weather Underground and all these imbeciles that, you know, caused a bunch of leftist havoc during the late 60s, early 70s. But then they decided in the 80s, the baby boomers, they decided, I want to become a corporate mogul. So they decided to go in and become corporate moguls and, you know, put away their bell-bottoms for suits and made all kinds of money. And they continued to make money in the 90s and prospered during the big prosperous economy and the technological revolution and all this crap. And now these baby boomers are sitting here pissing and moaning. All right? I mean, they're pissing and moaning that, oh, I know, the 60s is the new 20, the 70s is the new 30, and, you know, they're out here, they want to live forever, and they want to do this on the backs of their children and their grandchildren and their great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren. Why do you think all this is happening today, folks? Why do you think the left are allowing an open raid on the American tax-paying system? Because, folks, these are the cronies. These are the individuals. I mean, just take a look. Why don't you read the stimulus bills? Why don't you read about all the amendments of every bill that's passing the House and the Senate today and it's being signed into law? Take a look at how many, you know, millions of dollars are allocated to this company or that company, or how many billions of dollars were given to the banking and the Wall Street industry to quote-unquote save it. Take a look at how many individuals. That's right. Take a look at how many people that are name by name in these bills that are allotted millions of dollars for what? For no reason. Because they happen to be the cronies of the power-hungry autocrats in power. And this is our money. This is what's unfortunate about, this is what's most tragic part of this whole story, is that this is our money, and we've allowed it to happen. I mean, it's a damn shame, seriously. I mean, you know, we've allowed this to happen. Anyway, 646-652-4869 is the number to call. I'd like to hear from you. I want to hear from you if you happen to be a left-wing, long-haired liberal hippie or some type of muff-diving feminist that wants to provide some substance to your side of the persuasion. please, the floor is all yours. Give me a damn call, 646-652-4869. We're 4 minutes into the second hour of True Conservative Radio. I am your host, the man they call Ghost, folks, and once again, I want to thank you very much for tuning in with me. And before we go on this free format edition of the True Conservative Radio program, I would like for you to add to your favorites the True Conservative blog at ghostpolitics.blogspot.com, and please add me to your Twitter. It is the best way to find out when I'm going to do one of these sporadic broadcasts, and that's twitter.com/ghostpolitics. Now that we've got that all the way, folks, up until now, we've had some serious debates and we've had some serious conversations about issues. We've had a few people call up and give us some insight. We've talked a little bit about health care. We've talked a little bit about the complacency and the ignorance of American society. Now let's talk about what you can do to combat this. You know, I get a lot of emails, saying that, well, what do we do, Ghost? What do we do? And I attempt to try to say what to do all the time on this program. But this bureaucratic system of government, this United States of America, is such a complicated system. It's such a complicated scheme of things that it's more than one thing that one has to do. I mean, freedom and liberty, it's complicated. What can I tell you? But the first thing that we need to do, first and foremost, is we need to inform ourselves. We need to educate ourselves. We need to keep ourselves up to date. We need to read. Because, folks, history is doomed to repeat itself if one isn't a student of history. And if you look at modern times today, it's a lot like old times of before. I mean, what's going on here in America reminds me of the English Revolution. And I don't want to provide some sort of a history lesson about the English Revolution. But it was the first time in political history where a certain segment of the population, and they called themselves the Diggers, were actually contemplating, because it was a precarious time for England at the time. They had just beheaded Charles I because, he tried to do a bunch of things that the current nobility really didn't appreciate, and the nobility thought that the crown was infringing upon its right to property, and it's a whole story. But in this process of beheading Charles I, all these groups came about on attempting to facilitate their idea of what the new England would look like. And, of course, you had yourself the property-owning nobility, which were the ones that basically ran things and were basically the pretext. The nobility that staged the beheading of Charles I was the pretext for parliamentary democracy. But it was by default, though. This was not something that was conjured up like the Constitution by a bunch of political intellectuals and revolutionaries. This wasn't like this. It was comprised of a variety of different groups. One of them was called the Levelers, and the Levelers were more or less shopkeepers, merchants, individuals of that nature who really didn't have a great prestigious title in society, but then again, they were making maybe sustenance, maybe a little more. And the Diggers of the English society during the English Revolution were the ones who suggested during this time of turmoil when they were kingless, and they gave the throne to Lord Cromwell to be Lord Protector of the throne. In this process, the Diggers entertained the notion of the redistribution of wealth. And folks, in that time, during the English Revolution, the Diggers were the idea creators to what we now know as communism. And folks, as you can see from the English Revolution, nobody agreed with the Diggers, and thank God. and everybody decided that, what we were going to have, or at least the English, during the time of the English Revolution, was going to have a parliamentary democracy that nullifies the crown. And you see, folks, this is what I'm saying. We are having that same debate in present-day America. We're having individuals that are diggers who want redistribution of wealth. Because you have to remember that before the idea of exchange of goods and commerce, which nullified the crown and basically gave all the power to the nobility at the time of the English Revolution, the peasantry, or those known as the diggers, they were peasants at the time. And peasants, they were based on this system that they were going to live off the land of, whatever landowner or whatever estate. That's where you people need to look up the word estate. And, they would pay, patronage. They would basically be fed and, upkept by the estate owner in exchange for, whatever kind of service that particular peasant can have. But instead of it being, somewhat of a seniority of a situation, this whole idea of capitalism threw that out the window. And that's what left these diggers high and dry. And instead of actually participating in the new system of exchange of goods and services, even though the idea of capitalism wasn't birthed yet, they were still, they created the idea of mercantilism, if you want to talk economic terms. But the idea of capitalism was birthed, and henceforth, there was a little bit of opportunity other than being some peasant for the rest of your life. But at the same time, at the yoke of capitalism during the English Revolution, we had the birthing of communism. And it was the diggers, folks. The diggers, they were the ones that wanted the redistribution of wealth. They wanted the land to be redistributed so that everyone in England could have a fair shake. So that everybody in England could have and start off with the same amount of crap. And with all due respect to the diggers and their memory, that was a bunch of crap, okay? And that's why it didn't go down. But it's that idea that created communism, folks. And, I don't mean to be some history lecturer out here. I don't mean to be somebody who's trying to tell a story. But I think that if you look at history and you look at where everything comes from, and if you look at how all this history relates to you, maybe you would appreciate modern times a little bit better. You would appreciate a piece of crap? I'm sick and tired of seeing you ridiculous imbeciles. Oh, I'm having a bad life because I don't have the latest iPod. Oh, I'm having a bad life because I don't have a $50,000 car. Oh, I'm having a bad life because I'm not having a $50,000 piece of jewelry. I'm not having a good life because I don't have a $300,000 house, and it makes me sick. People are so unappreciative out here. I mean, we live in the greatest system, and you've got a whole population of this country on their knees begging for their own serfdom, begging for their own peasantry. And I refuse. Do you understand this? I refuse to be a slave to these ridiculous moochers of society. I refuse to be a slave to these damn Wall Street bankers that are bonusing off of my tax dollars, off of your tax dollars. I will not be a slave. Are you? Are you a damn slave? Are you going to continue working and continue giving your all without saying something, without doing something, without participating in this government? You got to do something about it, damn it! You've got to take charge. You've got to be willing to do whatever it takes to make sure that this system doesn't turn into an emphasis on the collective, that it doesn't turn into some sort of quasi-communist socialist crap. I mean, don't you understand that it is your obligation? It is your duty, you stupid, ungrateful piece of... It is your duty, you stupid piece of crap! It's your duty! It's your obligation to your children, to your family, to your country! Don't you understand that, you ungrateful piece of crap? Don't you understand that? Don't you care? I don't think you do. I don't think so. I don't think you really give two rat's asses about what's going on. I don't think you give two rat's asses about your children being sold off by you and your complacency in this government. And this is why I'm saying, folks, when the crap really hits the fan in this country, you have nobody else to blame except the person you look at every morning in the mirror. When we really go into some sort of subterranean crap hole communist garbage, you have nobody else to blame but the person that you look at in between those beady eyes and those stack of dimes you call a neck every damn morning in the mirror. And sometimes I ask myself, how do people live with themselves knowing that they're leaving behind such a horrific world for their children and their grandchildren and their great-great-grandchildren to live in? How can people do this? They do this because, folks, we are living in a new time. We're living in a new day and age where people are more worried about their materialistic consumerism and their materialistic accumulation and gluttony than they are worried about human life. Do you understand that this whole idea of women shitting out about 5 or 6 kids or 8 kids from 5 or 6, 8 different fathers, this trivializes the whole idea of life? I mean, think about it for a second. Life is supposed to be sacred. I mean, you're creating life. I mean, every time that you have a sexual encounter, potentially you could be creating life. It is a beautiful thing, and it has been diminished. This whole idea of procreating has been diminished by these individuals who have trivialized life by going out and shitting out children like they're going out of style. All right? I mean, you know, it's like they're shitting out these children like they were, diarrhea or something. And then once these children are on this earth, and once these children have to be raised by someone, these women out here aren't raising them. These men out here aren't raising them. Instead, they're more worried about their own materialistic accumulation. They're more worried about going out and, I mean, who the hell knows? I mean, I really don't know the true objective of most people. Most of these people are really sick in the head. All right? I mean, these people are really sick in the head out here. And they don't care about their children. I mean, just imagine yourself. I mean, take yourself out of this conversation, take yourself out of this broadcast, and try to think. Close your eyes and think about being one of those children in a family with some single dish rag whore mother with 8 kids. And imagine growing up in an environment where every first of the month you had to beg for the beans that your mother was able to collect because she doesn't want to spend the money on you per se, because you're just some dumb kid that's used to make money. And you're already fed at school with the free breakfast and the free lunch program. So here's a couple of dollars. Go to the ice cream man. Meanwhile, that dish rag whore mother is going to get her nails done. She's going to get her hair did. Huh? Yeah, she's going to get the Dolce & Gabbana glasses. She's going to get the Coach purse. She's going to get the exclusive thread so she can go sell her ass out there in the club for free drinks and maybe a rent payment. This is modern-day America, and this is what feminism has reduced women to today. I mean, what's the first thing that comes out of people's mouths when they meet each other in a bar, in a grocery store, in any social setting? What do people say to each other when a man and woman talk to each other? What do they say? Hey, what do you do for a living? Yeah, what do you do for a living? Not whether or not are you a good person, are you a bad person, not whether or not are you a rapist, are you not a rapist, whatever the case might be. No, it's what do you do for a living? And when you say something that's under a certain tax bracket, most of these women have already tuned you out. I mean, you know, if you don't have an occupation that's going to be able to suffice $1,000 a week shopping habit, they don't really want to have nothing to do with you in this modern day America. It's disgusting. I see it every day. My employees tell me about it on a consistent basis. These are single males out here working their tails off, getting taxed to death because they haven't shitted out children. And, you know, they're going out and trying to intermingle in a world where women are dumping off kids like they're going out of style. You know? I mean, it's just disgusting. It's pathetic. And look, I got people saying that I've got a real mental problem when I consider humans nothing. I don't consider humans nothing. That's not true. I think that some humans are nothing, all right? And I'm not going to be, bashful about it. I'm going to tell you straight up, I don't think that all lives are worth saving, okay? I'm sorry, all right? Now, I know there's individuals that are going to be like, well, how come you're against abortion, Ghost? How come you're against abortion? Well, because abortion is the purest form of murder, all right? And I've already said this on several different programs, but by taking away a life that never got a chance to live life is the purest form of murder. Like, for instance, you, whoever you are listening to this program, if you happen to be killed, God forbid, by some murderer, that murderer is going to be tried for the life he took, the life not lived by you. That's what he took. But every time these women who go to the club and hop on somebody that looks good in a leather jacket and has them ejaculate in their uterus pipe, and then a couple of weeks down the road they figure out they're pregnant, so they go to some damn doctor to get the damn thing vacuumed out of there. These women are committing the purest form of murder. So that's why I don't correlate abortion when I say that there's entirely too many lives being saved. And I don't think that every life is worth being saved. I sincerely don't. I mean, I have a sincere optimism for humanity. I think humanity has done great things. I mean, just look at our technological and industrial progress. Look at our evolution of our modes of production. I mean, look at what we've been able to accomplish in the realm of sciences, the realm of nanotechnology, the realm of biotechnology. We've been able to manipulate genes to clone animals. And, I mean, I can go on and on about the expertise and the knowledge of humanity. But we have to remember that not all of humanity contributed to this great society that we have. And as a matter of fact, a good portion of humanity is draining our natural resources. They are draining our bureaucratic systems of government and economics and social strata. And you see, because I am bringing those points up for debate on this particular program, and basically putting it in your face like no one else has put it, all of a sudden people are taken back and they're shocked by it. They're like, oh, how can you say that? Every human life is worth saving, Ghost. That's not right. Every human life is worth saving. Even the guy who molests 50 children, we have to save his life. He can be reformed. I mean, that's all there is to it. I'm sorry. I mean, that's why I'm glad I'm in Texas. You know, we've executed more people than any other state in the Union. And if you want my personal opinion, I think we need to execute a lot more people. All right? I mean, sincerely. I think we need to kill more people out here. I say if you are a child molester, Well, why don't you just go ahead and get off, no questions asked? If you've killed somebody in cold blood, if you've robbed somebody, I don't understand why we're housing these disgusting, despicable, uncivilized individuals that contribute nothing but attempting to degrade this system of society by inflicting harm upon everyone else. I mean, that's just my personal opinion, folks. I mean, many of us just want to live our lives. We just want economic opportunity. We want to be able to get what we put in, I mean, we're not out here with our hands out. I mean, and you've got all these people, with this hold hands and sing kumbaya attitude, thinking that every little life is God's little creature, And don't get me wrong, I think it is. I mean, I think that it is God's little creature. But the thing is that we have a thing called life. And people die in life. People die unfortunate deaths in life. People die walking to the store. People die because they're at the wrong place at the wrong time. All right? I mean, this is just unfortunate. And I don't understand why we're trying to save so many people's lives out here when a lot of these people are becoming a burden on the system. And whether that's the penal system, whether that's the entitlement system, whether that's the, whatever system. I mean, they're just becoming a drain. They're not contributing anything for the success of this system. And do you understand? That's what makes this society. All right? That's what makes this society is social order. That's what makes this society is economic prosperity and political protection of private property. Do you understand that? I mean, that's what makes this government so great. Or not this government, I should say. Let me strike that from the record. That's what makes this country so great. Because this government has gone out of control. It's extended its powers in places it should have never have been in. All right? I mean, I find it disgusting that, we've got policemen out here in America, and I know I've said this before, but it needs to be emphasized once again. We've got police officers out here that are sworn to serve and protect the public, that are doing nothing more than issuing out citations, that are issuing out tickets. I mean, let me tell you something, folks. These tickets and all these citations and all this ridiculous nonsense is the biggest infringement and the biggest form of taxation to mankind. Now, I agree that people should only go so fast on the highway. I agree that people need to obey a certain level of traffic laws. But, when I hear about all these invasive, tickets that one can obtain just because they're not wearing a seatbelt, just because their brake lights happen to be out, just because they have a broken tail light. I mean, ridiculous nonsense like this. I mean, a lot of these officers, they're more willing to stop someone who doesn't have any stint with the justice system, and they're more likely to give them more of a hard time than these hardened criminals. And this is what disgusts me about our current police system also, and that's why I'm critical of these police officers out here. I know they got a hard job. And my heart goes out to those that have died in the line of duty, because I know that you were attempting to serve and protect. You wouldn't have died had you not attempted to serve and protect our safety. But for the crux of law enforcement today, you're more worried about abusing your authority and showing off how big your schlong head is than you are actually serving and protecting the people. And a good example is that subterranean shithole in South Texas called San Antonio, Texas. And I know I keep bringing this city up, but, I mean, to me, it seems to be the worst-case scenario when it comes to, any statistic you want to throw out of your ass. I mean, it literally is like the top of those statistics. But you've got the police officers out there just continuously asking for more officers. They're hiring more officers. They got 50,000 officers with, they got some more SWAT team, and they got, big tanks and fast cars, and they got all this special equipment and all this malarkey. and yet crime doesn't seem to go down one iota in that crappy town called San Antonio, Texas. I mean, you know, it doesn't seem to go down whatsoever. I mean, and I'm talking about all-around crime, all right? All-around crime, murders, child molestations, child murders, robberies, all right? I mean, you name it, they do it. And you see, I mean, San Antonio, Texas is a perfect example that you can hire all the police in the world, but it's not going to bring down crime. It's not going to bring down crime because the officers that are sworn to serve and protect the American people or the people of the community aren't serving and protecting the people of the community. And that's my opinion. And the reason I say that is because these individuals are more worried about issuing out citations and maintaining quotas than they are actually going off and serving and protecting, maybe shooting a robbery suspect, you know, maybe offering a murder suspect, maybe having to apprehend somebody who, you know, is alleged a violent offender. All right? I mean, you know, I don't understand why the law enforcement isn't emphasized those crimes as opposed to going out and writing innocent, hard-working American people that are doing nothing more than going to and from work every day. Why they have to issue these people ridiculous nonsense citations, which are nothing more than taxation on the American people. All right? And this is why I say, folks, I'm a true American. I'm a true conservative. All right? I believe in freedom and liberty. I don't know how much I can emphasize that or overemphasize that, you freaking milky lickers. Do you understand that? I mean, I am a conservative. And I don't see why we have to be so, I don't know, we are the world. I don't understand why my tax-paying dollars has to go to these damn Wall Street bankers for their big bonuses this Christmas so they can buy themselves airplanes. I don't see why my tax-paying dollars have to go to these despicable, disgusting, filthy, supposed poor in America and single dish rag whores and all these other idiots that are gaming the system. I don't want my money to go into this garbage, all right? I mean, I want my money to go back into the American people that have kept this country together. And I'm talking about the middle class and the upper middle class. I'm talking about the bourgeoisie. That's who I'm talking about. When Marx talked about, oh, we got to fight against the bourgeoisie, comrade. That's who he was talking about. He wanted to destroy the middle class. He wanted to destroy the upper middle class because it is the upper middle class and middle class that makes capitalism possible. It makes opportunity possible. All right? I mean, careers open to talent. Do you understand this? The whole concept of careers open to talent. Marx wanted to get rid of that. That's why he said, oh, he's a part of the bourgeoisie. We got to get rid of the bourgeoisie. Well, that's who I'm talking about. All right? That's who I want to defend. That's who I get on this damn broadcast for every single day I conduct a broadcast. Do you understand that, you commie? This is who I devote my desire and my anger and my fury towards. I want the American working man and the American working woman to stop being slaves to Wall Street, to bankers, to American moochers, to losers of society, to single dish rag whore mothers. We are not your slaves. And I want you to repeat that in your head over and over and over again. We are not your slaves. We are not your slaves. We are not your slaves, damn it. And I mean that crap. I mean that. I'm standing up for the bourgeoisie. You hear that, you commies? Huh? You hear that, you damn Karl Marx worshippers? I'm standing up for the middle class. I'm standing up for the upper middle class. We are not your slaves. You piece of crap. You piece of crap. We're not your slaves, single dish rag whore mothers, all right? We're not your slaves, Wall Street, with your big multi-million-dollar bonuses on the American taxpayer's dime. We are not your slaves. I don't know how much I have to say that. I don't know how much I got to emphasize this crap. Why don't you put it through your damn thick skulls? Do you understand that? We need you. Get your fat ass off the sidelines into the front line. Damn it, don't you understand that? Our country's going down. Our country's going down. Don't you understand? Don't you understand that, you piece of crap? Don't you understand that? Don't you understand it, you piece of crap? Don't you care? Don't you even care that your children and your grandchildren are going to have to live in communist chains of bondage because of your materialistic gluttony? Do you understand that? You ungrateful pieces of garbage. I mean, do you care? I'm sorry, folks. Let me calm down here. Here, let me take a drink of this water here. And let me go ahead and lay down and have a shrink session with you folks here. You know, never in my life did I ever think that this system of government, this great American society, never did I think that we would end up this way. Never did I think that we would be emphasizing moochers and idiots invading the tax-paying system, all on the backs of the middle and upper middle class. And it seems to me all of you individuals out there don't seem to care. It seems to me as I wander on and surf the internet and scour the internet in hopes of finding those with like-minded viewpoints like this true conservative right here, a lot of you people don't really give a rat's ass. Honestly. A lot of you people are just putting a condom on a G.I. Joe and sitting on it and thinking it's a great feeling. A lot of you morons are, more worried about, the latest imbecilic bimbo shaking her rump on the latest edition of Do You Think You Can Dance than you are worried about this great country. I mean, this is why I'm saying, folks, that it is we shouldn't be blaming anybody else but ourselves for this downfall of society. All right? 646-652-4869 is the number to call, folks. I'd like to hear from you. Once again, folks, if you go around America, if you go around this country, it has turned into a crapper, It's turned into junkyard America. I hate to keep saying that, but, folks, cash for clunkers? A cash for crap? Are you kidding me, man? I'm telling you, folks, this is junkyard America, and I hate to keep saying it, and I hate to keep doing it, but welcome to junkyard America, folks. This what you want right here? Huh? Yeehaw! Come on down to junkyard America. We'll trade your cash for crap, baby. Yeah. Cash for crap and cash for crap. Wow. Welcome to America. Cash for crap, baby. Cash for crap, baby. All right, just shut that crap off already, all right? I know that I'm facetious. I know that I, make a joke of things on certain points, but folks, I'm trying to penetrate your psyche in some regard. I'm hoping that you walk away from this particular broadcast, thinking that, hey, maybe it is time for me to do something. maybe it is time for me to get up off my fat cottage cheese, dingleberry-ridden ass and go out and actually start participating in this government, start organizing. Start organizing my community, start organizing people, start enlightening those folks that are unenlightened, start getting well-informed and getting yourself well-situated with the idea of contributing to this political system of ours. Because, folks, this is why the Wall Street bankers and, all these big wigs in Wall Street got the big bonuses this Christmas while you're sitting there slaving for your beans, or if you happen to be one of these entitlement collectors, sitting there waiting for the first of the month so you can, go get your, bottle of tequila or whatever you people do. This is why. And it needs to stop. All right? It needs to stop. And I think that what you need to do is get up off your fat ass and realize that if I don't do anything to preserve this great country, if I don't do anything to preserve this great Constitution, then I'm worthless. Then my whole life was insignificant. I mean, you should really start saying that to yourself, folks, that if you don't do anything to change the current ridiculous situation that's in this country, and all you need to do is participate in any regard, then your life is completely insignificant, and I don't know why you just don't off yourself right now. I mean, to be frank with you. I mean, if you're not going to do anything to help your children, to help the grandchildren, to help the great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren, to help rectify this problem that we did because of our own complacency, all right, I just think that maybe you just need to off yourself because your life is insignificant. I don't even know why you're living for. I mean, why are you living if you don't even want to make a contribution to this great free society that we live in? I mean, we could still be living in monarchism, you stupid, unappreciative piece of crap. We could be living during the days of Genghis Khan, where barbarians ruled the land, and, they could just come in and ravage your wife and kill your kids and take your riches. We could be living in the days where you had to go and hunt your food, and you had to go and hunt, and you had to dodge big animals of the forest and lions and tigers, and then when you finally actually hunted some food, you had to bring it back to your family, and you had to dodge those same hungry and bloodthirsty lions and tigers, and then you had to dodge other scavengers, other people that would, sit here and try to jack you for your kill. But you people are unappreciative. You don't think about those sorts of things because you're too busy, waxing your carrot to naked pictures of Ricky Martin's butt crack on the Internet. You're too busy tickling your dingleberry-ridden poop chute, whacking off and, I hate to be so grotesque, but that's what you perverts do. I mean, that's what you perverts do. You don't actually go and enlighten yourselves about issues and news and that sort of thing. Because if you did, you wouldn't be sitting on your fat ass accepting what's going on and being fed to you right now by this system and by this government. And, folks, I hate to keep saying this, but this was a government made for the people and by the people. And if the people fall asleep at the wheel, and the only people participating in this government are those with their hands out, are those people that want to continue to collect entitlements, are those people that are working off the backs of the middle class and the upper middle class, well then, folks, we are on the Titanic. And if you're not going to do anything about it, once again, I strongly advise you to hang yourself, off yourself, because your life is insignificant. If you don't care about what happens to your future generations, well then piss off, literally. I mean, go into a bathtub and throw, a plugged-in toaster in there. I mean, you're a despicable disgrace to humanity. You see, I had somebody in the chat room earlier saying that I'm a despicable, disgusting disgrace to humanity, but I actually have huge optimism for humanity. I think that humanity can overcome obstacles that we could even fathom, but unfortunately, we are in a situation in history where we have become stagnant, we have become complacent, we have become ungrateful, we have become materialistic and gluttonous, and we don't understand how good we have it because we just want more, and we want more, and we want to continue to consume, and we want bigger and better shiny objects and more bigger plates of food, and we want to sit here and ride the emotionalism that the comment "poor in America" drains out of people. You know, every time you say, "Oh, I'm doing it for the poor in America," it drains the emotion out of people, and they come out the pocket. But, folks, once again, why don't you go look at your local food stamp line in your local area, in your local city? Why don't you go take a look at the idiots that are out there collecting all these entitlements at your social services little office in your local area, and take a look at how many fat asses will waddle their fat asses out of their cars, and their cars are probably brand new, paid on your dime, of course, but they waddle their fat asses to and from the social services department, claiming that they're hungry and they need more money to survive in America. I mean, it's just disgusting, folks, and we continue to pallet this crap. I mean, once again, folks, I strongly advise you in your local community that you advocate that we need to just get rid of all these entitlements going to these losers. Let me tell you something. It would be a great day, a great damn day, when these damn entitlements are no longer going to these filthy, disgusting, despicable human beings in society. You know that we had Barack Obama today go to New Orleans for a whopping 4 hours. It's the first time he went to New Orleans since the Katrina incident. He went out there for a whopping 4 hours for his photo op and claimed that we ain't seen nothing yet, and New Orleans is going to get whatever, $2 billion, $7 billion, $10 billion, whatever the hell it is in federal tax money so that they can rebuild, whatever in the blue hell that means. You know what, folks? I live out here in Texas, okay, folks? And let me tell you something. I love Texas. I mean, as big as it is, it's such a small community. And I go all around Texas. And I was in Texas when San Antonio and Houston decided to lend, certain real estate to these victims of Katrina. And I personally knew individuals. As a matter of fact, an individual that works for me was had just gotten out of the armed forces and was working as a paramedic at the time. And he decided, out of the goodness of his heart during this whole Katrina fiasco, decided to go down to the Levi Strauss, or the old Levi Strauss factory that's in San Antonio, Texas, that a good portion of these Katrina evacuees were housed during the unfortunate Katrina incident. So this employee of mine decided that he wanted to go down and he wanted to volunteer in any fashion that he could, for this Katrina situation. And at the time, Katrina and all the evacuees had already been there a good 3 or 4 months, all right? So they had been housed for the past 3 or 4 months, and my employee goes out and he donates his time and his energy in an attempt to help these people. Well, you know what this young man told me? This young man said that he personally saw individuals from Katrina basically taking the money that was given to them right after, the Katrina incident, because 3 or 4 months after the Katrina incident, that's when the federal government started cutting checks for these people so that it wouldn't look as bad of a public relations fiasco, all right? But this individual, and he's my employee currently, actually told me that he witnessed firsthand individuals who took their $10,000 or $11,000 check to supposedly rebound their life and to, make a life better or start a new life somewhere else. All these individuals, and he said that it was just a whole number of them. They went out and bought Cadillacs, and they would go out in the town and go to all these clubs and get all drunk and high and smoke crack or whatever they did, and then they would come back around, 11:30 or 12, park their Cadillacs in front of the, Levi Strauss factory FEMA operation and actually go to bed in their cots. and still eat the food out there. I mean, I'm serious. They would go out there, get 3 hots and a cot. They use their $10,000 or $11,000 that they got from the government and all the other monthly the other monthly checks that the government cut, courtesy of the American taxpayer. This individual told me that when he was volunteering, he saw these individuals roll up in their Cadillacs on dubs. I mean, they were rolling on 20-inch rims, and they were parking it in front of the damn Levi Strauss FEMA operation that was in San Antonio where all the evacuees were staying at, and actually going to sleep in the goddamn cot, for heaven's sake. I mean, is there something wrong with this picture, folks? And yet we've got Obama going to New Orleans. You know, he's going to New Orleans, and he's trying to have this photo op as if he's going to be the savior of New Orleans. There's nothing to save, Mr. President. You know what you need to save, Mr. President? This country, all right? You need to save the individuals that are in the middle class and the upper middle class instead of squeezing them to death with more taxes and more ridiculous government initiatives. All right? You need to open the avenue for investment and emphasis on small business. We need to start producing something again. You know, the remedy of job creation during the stimulus package 2, and this report came out today out of the Associated Press, supposedly the stimulus package 2 bill saved or created 30,000 construction jobs. Oh, isn't that great? It saved construction jobs. I mean, do you understand what a construction job is, especially one that is funded by the government? It's cronyism. That means the federal government dispenses all this money to the state dispenses the money to the cities, and whoever, you know, whatever contracting company is in cahoots with the city or owns the city more or less, gets all that federal money. And guess what, folks? They're not hiring construction workers at the price that they used to anymore. No. We're in a new economy where people are working for lower wages, not only because of the economic dire straits that we're in currently, but because they have to enter an employment market that's bombarded with illegal immigrants. You know, that's bombarded with illegal immigrants that'll work below an industry standard. So, with all due respect, Mr. President, I mean, don't give me this crap. You know, we want to see results, all right? You're supposed to be a man of the people, remember? Mr. Barack Obama, you're supposed to be a man of the people. Oh, why don't you help the American people, not the cronies that donated to you and those that are in your liberal regime's campaigns, all right? You know, this open rate on the American tax-paying system that you allowed Wall Street and the bankers to have is completely disgusting. But once again, I understand why it happened because, well, hell, they were the only ones participating in this political system. The bankers and the Wall Street guys were the ones donating the campaigns. They were the ones going to the dinners. They were the ones attending all these ridiculous fundraisers and all this crap. And henceforth, they had exclusive access to you and exclusive access to all those other power-hungry autocrats that are in power today, and that's why they got paid. That's why they got an open rate on the American tax-paying system. And those losers out there that are out here, you know, getting money with all the federal entitlement programs, well, because of the lifts on bans on felons that couldn't vote. You know, back in the day, you know, if you committed a felony, you couldn't vote. They've lifted those bans on a variety, most of the big electoral vote states. And that's why you're having this crumbs, you know, these crumbs being thrown to the lower echelons of society. This is why you're having this, folks. I mean, you know, it's no coincidence why the middle class and the upper middle class are getting the shaft. It's because it's the foundation of communism, redistribution of wealth. We talked about it earlier in relation to the English Revolution. The diggers are the creator of this concept of redistribution of wealth, folks. This is where this idea comes from. And I strongly advise you to read about the English Revolution and read about the diggers and read about how that mentality evolved into redistribution of wealth and then later on communism. This is just not right, folks. All right? Careers open to talent. That's what created the capitalist system. careers that were open to talent. But when we have no more careers that are open to any kind of talent, and most of the jobs in America are nothing more than service industry jobs, folks, it's no wonder why we're in the dire economic situation that we're in. And the only remedy that these leftists and these people in the liberal regime are offering are more government jobs. Yeah, that's right. They want to create more government bureaucracy so it can hire more people and prop up this makeshift economy so they can show good numbers. But folks, when government jobs outnumber private sector jobs, we are then in quasi-communist socialism. I mean, it's just like Kim Jong-il in North Korea. Kim Jong-il, the reason that he's so almighty and powerful and is able to, wield his fist throughout the country is because the people that get paid in the country are those that join the military. I mean, what was it, 80% or 70% of the GDP, according to the CIA website, I believe. It could be a little bit closer to higher 60 percentile range, but this part of the GDP goes directly to the military. All right, and it's no wonder why Kim Jong-il is in power, because all the jobs that pay anything worth a crap are all government jobs. All right? And that's what this country is turning itself into, folks. And this is why I continue to do these broadcasts. This is why I continue in hopes of sparking synapses in the brains of those of you, especially those of you under the age of 45. Those of you under the age of 45, you're taking it up the tailpipe double time with no Vaseline. And I'm telling you, it hurts. It gives you a lot more than a burning sensation in the anal region. It gives you something that's going to sting you until you are no longer breathing air on this earth. And I'm telling you right now, unless you do something about this, because it is your right. You understand that? We still have freedom, all right? We still have the Constitution. It is your right. It is your duty, all right, as an American citizen to participate in this government and to direct this government into the true constitutional republicanism that it was intended to do. None of this quasi-communist socialist crap. We don't want redistribution of wealth. We don't want government jobs overtaking private sector jobs. We want opportunity. We want opportunity, damn it. And I hope all of you assholes, all of you pieces of crap that sold your soul to this, that sold your soul to this leftist crap, I hope all of you are eating crow right now. I hope all of you are taking a big-ass bite of this shit sandwich. And I hope that you're looking at everybody else with a shit-eating grin because you look like crap. You look like crap. All of you idiots that sold your soul to this, oh, we're going to change the country. We're going to change the country. I hope all of you idiots look at yourself in the mirror and realize that you are a complete waste. You are a complete failure. You're a complete loser that embraces the collective and disrespects the individual. And that's not what this country was built upon. That's not what this country was about. And what about you? What about you, the individual? What about you, the American working man? What about you, the American working woman? Are you going to take it? Are you going to be a slave? Are you going to be a slave to the Wall Street bankers and their big bonuses? Are you going to be a slave to these single whore mothers and these supposed poor in America? Are you going to continue to take it? Are you going to continue to be taxed? Or are you going to do something about it? Are you going to participate in this government? Are you going to do something, damn it, for your sake, for your family's sake, for your children's sake, for your country's sake? God damn it! You piece of crap! Your country depends on it! Get your fat ass off the couch and go out there and participate in this government! This is not a joke! This is no joke! This is for real! Get your head out of the clouds! The only way we're going to maintain this government is if you participate in it. And if you don't participate in it, and if you don't get up off your fat ass and do something and organize and become really political and emphasize the individual and de-emphasize the collective, if you don't do anything, then we deserve everything that is coming our way. We deserve everything that's coming our way. if you're just going to sit on your fat ass and not do a damn thing to help it. Do you understand that, folks? We deserve everything that's coming to us if you're just going to tickle your ass crack and say it's a great day in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood when we're on the Titanic and the destruction and the dissection of the Constitution and the American way of life is right underneath our noses, and you stupid, lazy, milky liquor ass clowns aren't doing a goddamn thing about it. It makes me sick. Anyway, folks, I got 1 minute left in the program. I want to thank you very much for tuning in with me. Please add to your favorites ghostpolitics.blogspot.com. That's the official True Conservative blog, and don't forget to follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. It is the best opportunity to figure out when I'm going to conduct a live broadcast. Twitter.com/ghostpolitics. And, folks, spread the word about the True Conservative radio program, because without you, there is no advertisement. Everything is word of mouth when it comes to the True Conservative radio program. Anyway, folks, thank you very much for tuning in with me. I don't know when I'm going to conduct another broadcast, so tune in live. And please patronize the advertisers on the blog site, ghostpolitics.blogspot.com. You'll be truly representing the True Conservative radio show and helping us out. Thank you very much. Long live the conservative movement, and death to feminism.
Boar's Head is bringing a slice of Japan to the deli. Introducing Boar's Head Ichiban Teriyaki-style chicken. Tender, slow-roasted chicken breast, coated in our signature teriyaki glaze, where ginger, garlic, and a hint of brown sugar meet for a flavor that's both sweet and savory. New Boar's Head Ichiban Teriyaki-style chicken. The bold flavor of Japan. Now at the deli. Only from Boar's Head. Compromise elsewhere.